When I'm happiest, my routine is I wake up between 4 and 5 a.m. I come downstairs, I make some coffee, and I know exactly what I'm writing, and I write for like 4 hours. A lot of philosophy or a lot of psychology has focused on how people are broken and how can you help a broken person be normal. And I think that that's really good if your business model requires them to not heal. But I think the way to really think about it is how do you orient humans where they thrive? And I think it comes down to get them to make art. Because it's through trying to get people to make art that they're going to make contact with all their trauma, all their wounds, all the bullshit. But at the same time, they start to get a relationship with the magic.
I think we're just gonna install a basketball hoop right here. How'd you meet Graham?
What's cool is I met Graham by making art. Was it through the podcast?
Podcast? Well, that's how I...
Like first,
yeah.
Yeah, there's something like a piece of like advice that I really want to give people who constantly ask like, how can I get the job I want? Or how I don't know what to do in the world or whatever. If you commit to trying to make contact with that part in you that wants to make art, and then you start to try to make art, and then you start to pay attention to people out in the world that make art that you admire, and then you slowly start to learn from them and engage with their art. There is this thing in us that doesn't get to choose what inspires us. We don't get to choose what's beautiful. You know, like we don't get to choose who we're attracted to. And it's like that part of you will bring you to your people. This is one of the incredible tools of social media right now. If you commit to making art and putting your shit out there and then commit to connect to the people who make art that you admire and then interact with their art, like a gravitational wave is going to bring you to the next group of people who are your people.
Like what happened for all of us, I think, was better than what we initially imagined. If you like get that vision, yeah, I think not trying to force it is huge. And allowing what happens and just while you're doing that, like honing your craft.
And ultimately, that's why I think this is spiritual. Is it's like art is how you commune with God, you know? Or art is when we play with God, you know, and God wants to be played with. Advice to people when it comes to their dharma, I think one is play with the reality tunnel that there was a sacred task put on your heart and that it was placed in you by the fundamental goodness of everything, God, again, if you can use that word, and that if you pursued it, you would know grace because it wasn't a trick, it was put in you because it's meant for you to do it, and that reality is almost like a waveform and it will align with you if you are in resonance. Our dharma is so much more about surrendering to what we already know than trying to go find or create it. And so some of the questions that I ask people are, if you knew that you would be successful and that people would forget, what would you do? What are things that you loved to do as a kid that nobody had to teach you how to do? What are things that you do that when you do them, you get flow? What is a problem in the world that you feel really called to try to help or improve? Who are the people that you admire and why do you admire them? All of these are questions that if you started to map them together, you would see that they all tie in the middle, and whatever it is in the middle, it's your dharma. And I think the best way to think about it is Your Dharma is like a horizon, and it will continue to reveal itself to you as you move towards it. But the way you move towards it is you commit to a craft. And that craft is not something that you have to make up. It's not something you have to go find. It's something that you have to admit to yourself that you want to do. Because the desire to do it is already in you.
You're moving out. What's the next chapter?
The next chapter, marriage and a deeper commitment to serve, that my time will be much more shared. And so whenever I have my one-on-one time, with the muse, I can feel that there's just going to be an extra rocket booster on it,